Hi, everybody. Sorry I haven't been getting these out on time, but teaching is hard, so that's my excuse. So, as you see this week, today is Tuesday, we already did in class conferences and a notebook check with periods 1, 2, and 3. Today, we're going to do that with periods 5 and 8 for me. That is very much a check in to see how your student, or you, if you are a student, is doing, like with motion equations, with graphing on Desmos, because as you see on the 30th and 31st, we have an assessment. What that assessment looks like, half of that is graphing on Desmos on your Chromebook, so you got to bring your Chromebook. Please bring your charger too. And then the next half is like old-fashioned, like, paper, doing equations on paper, which we practice. Those are velocity and acceleration equations. So all you need for that is a pencil and your brain. I'll provide you with calculators and the worksheet and everything else you need. Also, students are always allowed to use notebooks on their tests because that is their reference to like those different equations. They work through some of them in there. So that's kind of your cheat sheet, kind of your, hey, Mr. Bear is helping you out, but can't help you out verbally on your test. So make sure you bring your notebooks, which usually they're left in my class. Friday, we have no school. That's a grading day for teachers. So as you have no school, I will be here grading your test. Remember, progress reports are due this week. So those tests, those assessments will be on your progress report. Monday, we have no school again. I believe that's a planning day. So 4-day weekend, whoop whoop. Then Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to do our Unit 3 notebook setup and introduction to forces. Usually after a test, I do a makeup day, but I space that out next week just because I want to make sure I have time to give really good feedback on those tests, if applicable. But Unit 3, as you see, I added. So we're still working on graphing. We're still working on describing and modeling motion for this week. But next week, we're going to jump really hard into forces and Newton's laws. So if you look at that document, here's your objectives. So really what I focus on for students is 3. So that's gaining proficiency. So using Newton's laws of motion to explain the motion of objects. But within that, the 2 to 2.5 is a bunch of different stuff describing what a force is, distinguishing between contact and non-contact forces, like magnetism is a non-contact force, for example, or gravity. Types of forces, so you have electromagnetism, gravity, normal force, which is like a pencil sitting on a table, things like that. If they are balanced or unbalanced, which just means if it's balanced, it's not moving. If it's unbalanced, it is moving. Net force, so that's the total force that's moving something. A non-zero force, again, a non-zero force means it's moving. Describe how changing the force on an object affects the acceleration of an object. If you change the force on an object, the acceleration changes, pretty simply. Compare and contrast the acceleration of objects. So if something is applied force, like a push, is put on an object harder than another object, or depending on the weight, that force can do different things. Then describing what happens to an object when it applies force to another object. So some of that force is retained in that object sometimes, and some is transferred to the object. We're going to do a lot of simulations. Planning a few different labs that I haven't done before for gravity, and I might do a paper plane contest. But the big goal, describing a situation that illustrates the effect of each of Newton's 3 laws. So that's something we're going to be assessed on eventually, and that's very much like writing, where I'm going to have your student or you write out what it means for Newton's first, second, and third law to all apply to the same situation, which it's physics. Newton's 3 laws are applying to everything all the time. They're a universal truth. So they're going on all the time. So back to this. So like I said, I like to do a makeup day after a test just to have kids to work on stuff and making time for that. So what that's going to look like on the 7th and 8th is I'm going to be helping students who need to fix up their test while the rest of the class watches something sciencey. Probably the Cosmos is always my go-to. So yeah. And then there will be a video this week, so that's not true. Something I'll add right now, actually. So both of these flex days, Mr. Bear, me, will have extended flex. So that means I'll be here until about 4:30 each day. So your students are invited. Usually, if your grade is fine, if your student feels like you didn't do that well on the test, please check in with me. But really, I like to invite students to that, and those invitations make it makes my flex time more meaningful because I can really target the students that I feel like I need there and are worried about their grade, especially for progress reports coming out. If you have any questions about that, please reach out. If you are a student, you're welcome to come. If you are a parent and you just want your student to check in with me, go for it. That's totally fine too. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, I hope these are helpful. I know I haven't released a couple of these in a few weeks, but I'm trying my best. So also, I appreciate anybody who's given to the snack fund. That is amazing. I've had almost $550 donated this year. That really goes a long way. That helps out my wallet, and that helps out the kids too. Just kids are less grumpy when they snack, so I love it. I don't, as a grumpy teenager, I can totally relate to your grumpy teenagers sometimes. So I really appreciate any money that's been given. It is really helpful and meaningful in the classroom. So thank you again. Mr. Bear out.